Shalom Aleichem, welcome to Machan Leira online smicha. I'd like to discuss halacha and Hilchos Shabbos. Obviously, Hilchos Shabbos is a big topic. We're zeroing on one branch of a bigger topic within Hilchos Shabbos, and that is pets. So many people have pets. Many people have dogs, cats, fish, birds, bunny rabbits. So the parsha of pets on Shabbos is a very, very big parsha. They're muktzah because these are not pets that you could use on Shabbos. There's no benefit from them on Shabbos. And the Alter Rebbe actually in Siman Shin Ches, Sif Ayin Ches says, even if there are some benefits of the pets. For example, if you have a bird, Sheroi L'tzachik Boitina Kishabaycha. If there is, this is the Alter Rebbe's opinion, that a bird, if there's a baby crying, the bird could cheer up the kid. So l'chayra, there is a benefit from the bird on Shabbos. Nevertheless, it's still considered muktzah. So there's many parts to the pet. Could be a question of muktzah, and what category of muktzah it is, as I said before, it's muktzah machmas gufay because you have no benefit from it on Shabbos. You can't eat it, you can't use it, you can't ride on it. There is the walking with it in Rosh Hashanah, carrying it. But I'm going to zero in on one part of it, and that is you're not riding on the pet, you're not riding on the animal, you're not even lifting up the animal, so it's not muktzah. You're only patting the animal. Let's say you have a bunny rabbit or a dog, and you want to just pat it. Because earlier in the beginning of Hilchos Muktzah, the Alter Rebbe says, like the Alter Rebbe Paskins, like the opinion that says that Muktzah is only an Isser to lift. There is no Muktzah Isser to touch Muktzah. So what would be the din? Just patting an animal, and you'll make sure that by patting it, you won't move it. As the Alter Rebbe says in Siman Shin Ches, the Alter Rebbe says in Siman Shin Ches, Seif Yud Dalid, Kol Muktzah Eine Asur El Betiltu. Muktzah is only prohibited to carry, but to touch you're allowed to. How about touching it and making it move? That's not allowed to. So where does patting a bunny rabbit or patting a dog, where would that fit in? So there's an interesting halacha. The halacha says earlier in Siman Shin Beis, in Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch Sif Chav Beis, the halacha says, Mishan islach lechu yadav betit. If somebody's hands got dirty in mud, and he wants to clean the hands, so obviously he's talking about back then, one of the options you have to clean your hands from the mud is mekancham bezanav hasus or bezanav hapara. You're allowed to clean the mud off your hands by wiping it, scraping it on the tail of a horse or the tail of an animal, but not on a towel. And he says, why? Because you might end up washing the towel. Obviously, the zon of asus, the tail, you're not going to end up washing. So that was a question of concern of washing. But if you stop for a second, there is an eye-popping question here. The eye-popping question is, and the Mishnah Berurah and Bir Halacha asked this question on the Shulchan Aruch Siman Shin Beis Sif Yud Aleph, how could you even touch the tail of the horse? A horse is muktzah, and since every Baal Chai is muktzah, you're not allowed to touch a part of the muktzah. How would you be able to scrape or wipe your mud on the tail of a horse? And the Bir Halacha quotes, and the Mishnah Berurah quotes that the Tosfos Shabbos says that over here, it's not talking about a tail of a horse that's still attached to the horse, it's a detached, it was cut off, and then, because it's cut off, it's not anymore muktzah. However, the Bir Halacha asks, doesn't say anywhere, and even the Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch that I just quoted, doesn't say that the thing has to be detached. He says you're allowed to wipe it on a tail of a horse. Why are you allowed to do that? And the Shmir Shabbos Kolchasa and Perek Chav Zayin Hara Nun Gimel says, Reb Shlomo Zalman Auerbach also asked this question, and they're forced to say that it must be like the Torah Shabbos, that the tail is not on the horse, because if not, we have no other way how you would be able to do it. However, the Kaf HaChaim in Ois Pei Tes also discusses this, and he says that what does it mean that you're allowed to wipe it with the Zon of Asus? It means not the tail. It means there are some brooms, there are some kalim, there are some cleaning equipment that are utensils that are made from the shear, made from the hair of the tail. That's what you're allowed to do. But you're not allowed. It doesn't actually mean on the horse. Others give other answers because it's till to chelik min muktzah. You're not carrying the muktzah itself. Maybe it's allowed. In a Sefer Menuchas Ava chelik aleph peri yud gimel, he gives another answer. He says the whole point of why you're not allowed to maybe touch muktzah, move it, because if you move it, you might pick it up. In this case, with the animal, if you're going to pat it, it's not necessarily, if it's an animal like the size of a horse, you're not picking up the horse. So maybe the tail of a horse and the tail of a para, touching it, wiping off the mud would not be a problem. However, based on all this, the summary comes out. If you have a little bunny rabbit or a little puppy dog, where there is a concern that you might pick it up, then you should. And the hair, the Mishnah Berurah came up with a big chiddush. The Mishnah Berurah says, and a lot of people question it. The Mishnah Berurah's chiddush is that when you say muktzah is only the body of the animal. The body of the animal is a muktzah. The guf balei chai, but the sar, the hair is not. That's pretty powerful. That's a chiddush that nobody else knows that. And even the Mishnah Berurah himself says it's a tzarech chiyun. So, to summarize it, it looks like, based on all these answers I gave, if it's a small bunny rabbit, patting the hair of the rabbit or a small puppy, then you have many problems by doing that, because who says that the hair is not muktzah? Even if you're not going to cause it to move, but you might have to be concerned it's small enough to pick it up. So it's best to refrain from even patting animals, even small animals. And as the Alter Rebbe says, even a pet animal that you have some benefit from, they're still considered muktzah.